If you are looking into buying cheap and safe FIFA coins, look no further than footcoinshop.net. They have the fastest service, an incredible loyalty reward system, and the best prices around. Use my creator code Inception when you sign up for your account and get a 5% discount with your order. Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, my thoughts on the gameplay after the patch has dropped. It actually came out earlier than I thought, to be honest with you, because normally when they drop those things, they drop like 2-3 days after or something. But yeah, I did end up playing more games because obviously I was doing some Road to Glory stuff, the first owner Road to Glory stuff, some stuff off stream because I had to go ahead and unlock Chouamene just to kind of end off the episode, right? So we did do a couple of gameplay stuff there for Foot Champs as well as Division Rivals to, you know, obviously unlock the cards for him and for Feller as well. So guys, we're gonna be talking about this patch and how it feels in game. Listen, some people when they watch these types of videos, they think that I just complain for the sake of complaining. No, I complain about things that are right to complain about. Okay, let's get something very straight, because if nobody complains about this, you're going to be playing a garbage game for the rest of your life. Okay, back in the day when we used to have terrible finishing, that was a thing that I was on them about like crazy. I don't know why they changed it for this year's game, because the last 2 years it was good except for the finesse shots inside the 18 and the chip shots. But you need people to tell you what's bad and what's good by logical reason. It's very important to mention these things because, guys, listen, before this patch, everything sucked. Passing, shooting, dribbling, attacking AI, defense, everything. The whole game was terrible, okay? This is genuinely the first patch that, in my opinion, actually feels like a positive difference on the game in comparison to previous years. Normally, when they did like a patch for the game, they would say, oh, we did this, and then you would play the game, and you guys know this, right? It didn't feel like anything changed at all, right? But with this game, it does feel like a change. So let's mention the very first thing here, okay? The very first thing. The 71 depth situation. Guys, I'll tell you guys this right now that I recently reviewed that Rocky tactic with a 71 depth, and almost immediately, I didn't like using the tactic anymore. I didn't like using it anymore. Don't get me wrong, I didn't like using it before, but when you have to fight fire with fire, you just had to, right? I didn't like the defensive setup. I didn't like the attacking setup, right? And again, that's before the patch. We'll probably be doing a new 4-3-2-1 for the future, because obviously things are going to change. But I'm going to tell you guys this right now. And just to help you guys out to kind of get into the game again, I really suggest you to use this 4-2-3-1 that we recently reviewed. You see how there's no 71 depth, and you see how we're all on balance for everything? You can finally use balanced chance creation in this game, and your players don't completely, because that defensive line, because they're still sometimes stupid, right? They don't completely move like morons now. They actually move across the pitch the way that those images look right there on that bottom right corner, which is fantastic. I was actually able to build up a play with my CDMs, bringing it back to the fullback, to the center back into the middle. My striker and my cam would move a little bit better as well across the pitch. You know, I had like Cantona and Rooney in the cam position, and Cantona striker, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm actually scoring nice goals. Like, it's not always a cutback, right? So the congestion in the midfield part of the game, guys, like that part specifically that they talked about, that has 100% been adjusted. Okay, so that's a huge positive, because you can actually, now I can do player reviews. I actually refused to do player reviews before because I didn't want to play against this every single game where my players are all idiotic through the middle of the pitch. So really huge positive there, that the congestion through the middle of the pitch doesn't feel as bad. I'm very happy about that. Okay, the next thing to mention, the finesse shots. Okay, so the finesse shots, they've been nerfed, but they haven't been nerfed the way that you guys are interpreting that it's been nerfed. And honestly, I interpreted exactly the way that they mentioned it. It's been nerfed by, I would honestly say, 15 to 20%. That's what I would say. Like, that general area is what I would say. You definitely feel like you gotta green time them more nowadays. But the problem is that I can see why they don't completely nerf it, because of that defensive line. Because guys, I'll tell you guys this right now, that with these changes, you know, the rats, man, they just play for the results. So they're gonna be super defensive, right? They'll play a 5-back and they'll be willing to just get that one little lucky goal, park their little behinds in that 5-back formation still, because listen, the track back with the fullbacks isn't as good, so they can't attack as much. That's a good thing, right? They can't attack as much, so they'll play like their little rats, you know, the 5-back, be in that little line situation that I always tell you guys about in the defensive areas. But the finesse shots, they still had to be somewhat effective because that's the meta that's been kept in the game with that defensive line, right? So it's really nice to be able to still score them. They're still kind of ridiculous sometimes, but it has been nerfed 15 to 20%. So that's how I would explain them. They haven't been completely nerfed like some of you guys would expect. They're still effective to do, but 15 to 20%, that's how low they've gone. So I'm okay with that still, to be honest with you guys. What are the points we have here? The manual goalkeeping. So in my opinion, manual goalkeeping for 1v1s, I hate it entirely, right? I do. But they did get it to a point in this game where it's a little bit more acceptable to deal with, because I hate that mechanic in general for 1v1s. However, I did notice occasions where if I green time a strike and the person used the manual goalkeeping a little bit late, I would still score the opportunity, which I think is a really huge variable, because it's like, okay, if someone used their manual goalkeeping and I'm just late to see it, but I hit a white timed, then that variable could exist a little bit more, right? But the slowdown of the goalkeepers and that general movement, personally, I'm a fan of, okay? I definitely like it a lot. I like being able to not have to deal with that as much, especially when I create a good attacking play, which I'll show you guys some gameplay highlights of the Road to Glory stuff after this video today, so you guys can see how I was generally attacking against people. Playing against, I'm only going to mention the sweaty games for Division 6, because there's people that are sweaty and there's people that are not sweaty. Like there's actual Division 6 people that are very low right now. Maybe like 20-25% of them are. And then there's the 70-75% who are rats that remain in the lower divisions just to do their objectives, right? They're rats and they're not rats because I've told you guys that these game modes, they don't make any sense, right? I've told you guys this many times every single year. So congestion not being as crazy as before is fantastic, and I can actually play a balanced chance creation and my players can move. Okay, so yeah, check out the most recent 4-2-3. I think it's the most recent 4-2-3 one we're using exactly like this, 45 for widths, you know, 6 for players in the box. This formation can actually cook for you now, okay, because there's actual movement in the middle of the pitch. What else we got here? 3-back, 5-back formations. So that formation in particular, you definitely notice the track back of the fullbacks being a noticeable thing, that they don't track back as crazy. They still do, but they don't do it as crazy, which is a huge W, because if people are using those sort of formations, it's because of, one, you're either trying to be really defensive, or two, you're trying to be really attacking because you need a goal back or something, right? Or you just want to attack the entire game because you'd rather just do that than focus on your defense, which by all means, go right ahead, right? So that's definitely been adjusted. Technical dribbling, so that specific mechanic, it does feel nerfed, but the word of using nerfed, it's almost like you're over exaggerating how like what they've done to it. Like, because sometimes things can be nerfed in a video game but still be effective, because a technical dribbling in the game, guys, the whole R1 dribbling, it's still effective in the game, but it does feel like there's more of a balance to it. Okay, the reason why I'm saying this is because before, pretty much use anybody, like the speed up of the controlled sprint, that's what it is, it's the controlled sprint, it was a little bit ridiculous for some of the cards that you would end up using, right? But for some cards that, you know, either have the play style or have the technical plus version of it, they're still going to be very effective with it, but it's just not going to be as crazy as before, which in my opinion, yet again, is a W, right? So in my opinion, I think this gameplay patch has genuinely been the first one that has been a significant difference in the game. Now, we mentioned all the actual base mechanic stuff, right? But very important to mention, guys, that when you guys talk about the speed of the game, that you are immediately wrong if you think that that is the patch doing that. Because I played the games today, guys. I played it in the morning to get my Road to Glory footage out. My game still feels slow during the daytime, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll play later today at nighttime and it's fast and responsive. That's still going to be a thing, because EA themselves are never going to go into the base coding of the game to adjust whatever it is from back in the day, old coding that makes the players feel this way. during the daytime, okay? Whether it's a combination of the servers and the game netcode, it's a bunch of things, right? The most advanced issue we've ever had in any video game ever, because they'll never fix that. That's something that we just have to deal with. But I just liked that I felt more relaxed trying to do the Road to Glory gameplay. The game mechanics, because guys, before, you have to imagine, bro, I already hate inconsistent gameplay. I complain about it every single year, okay? Because it's borderline unacceptable that EA have not fixed it. We do have to mention this, okay? Because that alone makes the game horrible, truth be told. But having base mechanics that suck while dealing with inconsistent gameplay, I couldn't play the game, bro. I didn't even do it, guys. There was Benzema and stuff that I didn't review because I did not want to even bother playing the game. I didn't want to play in that meta. I didn't want to have to use a 4-3-2-1. Like, what? The 4-3-2-1, guys, it's a glitched formation. Those instructions are not even intended. You understand what I'm saying? Like, oh, attacking a 4-3-2-1, defend it. That's not intended. So I don't like using tactics like that. But this 4-2-3-1, nice. You know, I have some movement in the left side, the right side, the striker getting in behind. It felt good. You know, it felt good to actually play some regular football for once. Because, guys, winning and losing is not the important thing. It's the experience, right? If I'm winning a game 5-6-0, if I wasn't a content creator before this patch, I would have just done this. I would have uninstalled the game, bro. Are you kidding me? I win 5-0. You guys have seen my streams when I did the RTGs. When my gameplay is bad and the gameplay base mechanics suck, I'm just like, I already want to leave this game. I literally tell my stream I want to leave this game. But now this is more at an acceptable level. Now, don't get me wrong. You are still, because I've seen people say, oh, the cutbacks have been nerfed. No, the cutbacks are still going to be the effective way to score. You guys will see from these highlights that they're still an effective way to score. So you have to be mindful of that. The cutbacks is still going to be very, very effective. Okay, that sort of gameplay style will still be effective. Okay, kickoffs. I've seen some people try to do kickoffs. I feel like they feel the same, maybe slightly nerfed. It's one of those types of areas, right? Because sometimes people do it against you and like they don't do it the correct way. So I mean, the kickoffs is like, it's a big deal and it's not a big deal. It's a combination of making sure that you switch to your center back and just mark that runner anyways, which you can't always do because, listen, I have to be the guy to say that, but the switching in this game, man, EA, I don't know how you guys, the switching is still horrendous, man. I switched to 5, I switched to 2, I switched to 1, I switched to 4, and I'm like, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there's a podcast that I did with Kurt years and years ago, and I showed him what actual good switching is from the offline experience, and he was like mind blown during that time period because I was actually able to switch the right players at the right time. I would call out every single switch. That's what we want. You guys add these settings for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. No, you have years of FIFA where your switching is good, but it just, in the online, it never went to the online. That was the problem, okay? But you had switching that was good. These new settings that you add doesn't change the fact that you have some sort of thing in your game that doesn't allow you to do it on a consistent basis. But for me, I switched it lower. It helps a little bit more, but you know. So here's the underlying thing that we have to mention as to how the meta of the game will be now. So now you'll actually be able to build up some plays, which is a W. Great stuff there, right? However, you are still going to be facing this meta where people are gonna still be very, very defensive in this game because using your defenders manually still feels horrendous. So the way to counter that is to put as many defenders and midfielders around the 18-yard box as possible. But it doesn't feel as bad as it did before, because when you use a tactic that's on bounce, these guys actually do move across the pitch a little bit better, right? So they're going to be more defensive, of course. They're still going to try to block out the cutbacks as much as possible. That's going to be like the main thing, obviously. And the types of goals that you're mainly going to concede are probably still going to be the outside the 18-yard box shots from the ball roll trivela, as well as like mostly the green time finesse, I would say. Like the white time is still going to be effective. Like I said, it's only been like a 15-20% nerf, so they're still going to be able to score it. But that small little difference will make a significant difference. But for me, guys, honestly, I'm happy that, you know, even with inconsistent gameplay, I'm not happy in general. You guys know, until they fix that specific issue, like, the game's trash, right? It will be trash every single year until they fix it. But this is, in my opinion, the first new gen experience of FIFA that actually feels playable now. Okay, it doesn't feel like I have to use direct passing. You know, I like being able to use balance, and my team just cooks for me. That's what I like. Okay, I don't like this. I always have to constantly look for the track back, constantly looking for the track. I don't like that. Okay, so it's nice that I can actually play properly now for the team that I have and all that kind of stuff, right? So, by the way, guys, Road to Glory team is looking pretty nice so far, huh? But yeah, what we're gonna do, guys, is I'm going to show you guys the highlights of only the sweaty games. So only the sweaty games of Division 6, because there was one guy that was definitely a Division 6 player, so we're not going to put that. But it was that and some of the Foot Champs games that we ended up playing to unlock Shuameni, okay? So I'll show you guys how the game plays out now from like the general build-up and all that good stuff, and then we'll basically just go from there. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Enjoy the highlights. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys. You know what we'll do, guys? For the highlights of how the game kind of like plays out now, we'll just put it in the tactics video, because I'm gonna basically do a re-review for the 4-2-3-1 to kind of get you guys started with how the new patch or the new gameplay feels. Okay, so we'll just do that instead. So I'll post that video today, probably like a few hours from now. Okay, peace out, my dudes. Love you guys.